Welcome back to Jenny's World, keeping it fresh, keeping it real, and keeping it middle-aged. Now don't forget to follow me, Instagram, Twitter, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, details down below. Now today I'm going to link into what I spoke about in my other video, work, but this one's going to be about work-life balance. How do you achieve the perfect work-life balance? Me, I really don't know. I'm at the upper end of like work and a little bit of life. And it kind of like swings around to the other side where I have life and a little bit of work. But I just really want to touch on some things that I've experienced and ways in which I try and minimize the impact of work on my life. So my current job is pretty full on. As I said, I've been there for 20 years, so I know it inside out. But we still get busy, extremely busy. Recently, I've had a new boss, joined in May last year. And his expectations are really high. He's got some exciting and great new ideas, but it all involves a lot of change, not just for me, but for the people reporting to me, across different functions. And there's a lot of pressure to get things done. So there are days when I find myself not overwhelmed, but just going home, thinking of work, going to sleep, dreaming of work, and trying to kind of like cull away from work impacting on my life. So what I try and do is really get all my work stuff done before I get home and have a clear mind. Now, it's so much easier said than done because work, we spend most of our time there. I think it probably works out about 60% of my time is spent at work. And I generally leave the house about between 6:30 and 7. I don't get back home until 6:30, 7, sometimes later. So a big chunk of my time is spent around work. On the way to work, I'm on my phone, checking emails, responding to emails. When I get to work, I'm working. On my way back home from work, I'm checking my phone, responding to emails. And then sometimes, there are work calls that I have to take and they happen in the evening. So again, that work creeps into my own time. And I would say my boss is great. He really encouraged us to get that work-life balance, but it's so much easier said than done. So what I just really want to kind of like explore is how we can alleviate and really get that true work-life balance. So for me, I know that from the time I leave home, probably from the time I get up until when I get back home in the evening, that is all work time. That is time that dedicates to my whole work. I kind of like find I very rarely get a break. If I'm lucky, I get maybe 20 minutes for lunch because I'm rushing around trying to get things done. If I'm eating my lunch, people come and talk to me. I can't really complain too much because I kind of like do the same, but kind of avoid going too often if I can see people having lunch. And then again, for the rest of the day, I'm running around trying to solve things in meetings, trying to get things done, just finding quiet space just to write up information. And then the day ends and I leave and I kind of like time things off. I look at my phone, oh, there's an email that just come in, let me respond. Or let me trawl through the 1,000 emails that are unread in my inbox that I need to get to at some point. But when I try and get home now, what I try and do is put that phone away and not look at it again. If I brought my laptop home with me, I try not to open that. And then I focus on my own time, my personal time with my family. So as I've said, I've got 2 young grandkids, 6 and 9. So they tend to want attention when I get home. I want to speak to my daughter, see how her day's been, what's going on. And that generally helps me to kind of like have that relaxing moment. Trying to get the kids off to bed and get them to do stuff, kind of like, again, is all about that work, about that life balance. And then hopefully I'll get time to relax and chill. Now I'm being told that Love Island is part way through and I need to catch up and watch that. I'm going to try and put time in to watch those videos on catch up. But again, it's all about squeezing things in, and really that's not what I want to do with my life. I accept and acknowledge that a large portion of my time is for work. But when I leave work, I really want to be able to focus on myself, my family, and enjoy that downtime. So it's about finding hints and tips and ways not to think about work. What I found works for myself, as I said, is I leave my phone to one side, I put it upstairs, don't touch it again until the next morning, leave my laptop in my bag. Unless I know that I've got a call, I've got to respond to something urgently, that's where they stay. I then try and clear my mind off work. And the best way to do that is by asking the girls what they've been doing at school. As they always come up with so much stuff, they want to show me what game they've been playing on either their PlayStation or on the computer. And automatically, you're kind of like, your mind's kind of going into numbness where we're thinking about, this is what entertaining is for the 6 and 9-year-old. And that really does help me to chill and relax. And then most importantly, this works day in, day out. And I get to the weekend and I find myself really easily able to kind of like cull off. It's like once I hit that 7 o'clock mark, I'm off, work is done. That's it. I finish work for the week. And I'm thinking about that weekend, what we're doing with the girls, what I'm doing for myself. And again, that moves into hobbies. And I think I mentioned it before in one of my videos that I like photography. Haven't done it for a few years. My camera is gathering dust upstairs. And I want to take that back up, especially as we're coming into lighter evenings, lighter mornings. But one of the things which is really key and I'm passionate about is writing. Now, I have loved writing since I was a young child at primary school, and I moved into secondary school. My first real serious book was a book by Stephen King. Loved it, went on to read all of his books, different genres of that kind, James Patterson, for one, who I kind of like and read in and out. But one of the things I wanted to do when I hit my teenage years was become a writer. But again, that took time, that took patience. And I never really had the time to do that. When I left college, I was working for a while. Then I had my daughter really early on. So that took up a lot of my time. It wasn't until I was in my mid-30s that I really got back into that passion of writing, and I loved it. And I was able to write a book, and I was quite impressed. It was quite a personal book. It's a biography of my life. My life at that time wasn't the best, and I'd gone through an enormous amount of stuff, and I thought, I started off when I wrote that book, it wasn't to write a book, it was just really to talk about and get down my frustrations, what I'd experienced through life. But the further I got, I realised actually I'm writing a book, and I was like, oh, really excited, I'm now writing. It's like, wow, I'm a writer. And that really kept me going. So what I found myself doing, and it really worked for me, was that when I finished work, because I knew I had something to do, I was able to switch off and say, right, work is done. I'm not looking at anything work related. I'm going to focus on me and my own time. So had the family time, then I would have a few hours to look at what I'd written previously and to continue writing. And that really helped keep my focus for work-life balance. And it's one which I kind of like go back to, always trying to have a hobby that I can entertain myself with, that makes me busy, makes me enjoy what I'm doing, so I forget about the work aspect. And this is something which I think all of us out there who work, whether we're mums, full-time, parents, carers, full-time workers, we need to know when to let go, when to really drop work and focus on us. As I said, we spend a large part of our time at work and a small part of our time on our own with family. So you really have to enjoy it, or else it's just going to be detrimental to your health, to your well-being. I know there have been some people at my work who have just driven themselves so hard, they've become ill. They've then had to take time off sick. So not even enjoying that, they're actually sick, been signed off by their doctor, and they're still fretting about work. I personally can relate to that. As I said, I'm one of those who've moved from a workaholic to kind of like coming back to now I want to enjoy my life. But I think all of us have it in us that we want to do the best we can for work. And sometimes before we've got to pull in as many hours as we can to get the job done. But I, for one, I'm a firm believer that it's just not worth it. For one, we don't get paid enough. And I'm talking for me. I don't get paid enough. I don't get the recognition I deserve. And ultimately, it's not worth being ill over. Now, one thing that really shot home for me about how hard I was working, when I was travelling with work, and I was travelling over to South Africa, to one of our offices, I was in Johannesburg, and I got really ill. And I'm not just talking ill with flu or anything like that. My illness was that I nearly died. And that really made me take stock of myself. And this happened, I think, was it 3-4 years ago? It's so long ago. But it really made me take stock and think. I had to stay in Africa for, I think it was only 6 weeks. And I came back and I signed off work for 6 months. But during that time, I'd spoken to my then line manager, the one who did not like me. And she was really supportive, really, she's really good, all of that stuff. But then in between coming back into the UK and not being at work, nobody from HR department contacted me. I didn't get a note from any of our senior leaders to ask how I was doing. None of that. And I saw my manager a few times, but nobody really asked me how I was. Bearing in mind, I was pretty much at death's door. I returned back to work, and it wasn't until I think it was close to December that one of our senior leaders said to me, "So, have you recovered?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm getting there." And in my head, I'm thinking, so I was in July. I nearly died in July, and you're asking me in December if I've recovered. And that really shot it home for me. So why I was working really hard, pushing myself sometimes, doing long hours, not spending much time with my family. I got ill, and the organisation I worked for didn't even care to ask how I was doing during that time. And over 6 months, the then senior leader of the organisation flippantly asked me, as a backhand comment, "Oh, are you fully recovered now?" 6 months after the event. And from that moment on, it was like, that's it. The gloves are off. I'm doing my job. I'm working 7 hours. I'm not doing any more. And it took a lot for me to kind of like stick to that mindset. It didn't happen overnight. But it was like, so if I died, they would have sent me some flowers, a letter to my daughter of how sorry they were. And they would have filled my role probably within 2 months and moved on. But my daughter and my grandkids would have been left grieving for years. So if they don't care about me, my health, my well-being, why am I pushing myself? Why am I making myself ill just to get things done at work? And what I've learned since that experience over the last few years is that it doesn't matter how hard you push yourself, work, your job, is not worth you getting ill or dying for. Because as I said, they will replace you pretty quickly, and that will move on as though you never existed. But for your family, they've got pain forever. So that really helped to sharpen me up and make me a bit tougher when it comes to work-life balance. And I always now tell people who are reporting to me, friends at work who I can see or hear that they're working themselves too hard, and I say, don't do it. It is not worth you damaging your health or even your mental state just for work. If you can't get the work done in the amount of time you've been allocated, then you need to let your boss know, but you need to stop and wait until the next day. Because work will always be there, but you won't. And for some people, they take it on board and they kind of like follow that as close as they can. And some others don't, and I've seen them not be well and take time off sick, etc. But there's only so much I can kind of like spread the word that says do the best you can, but don't kill yourself doing it. Because it's up to the individual to kind of like take that to heart and work on it. So what I really want to say is that work-life balance is critically important to your own personal well-being and your happiness. And you all need to make sure that you're taking care of yourselves while you're at work and ensuring you have enough downtime to enjoy your life. Whether you're single, have a partner, have kids, have parents, whatever, just make sure you're getting out there and having fun. Because when you start to have fun, you start to recognise where work fits in and where it ends. So that you then start to have more and more time on your own and you're able to enjoy things that you like doing. Like, as I said, my hobby of writing. Now, I've been really busy last year, despite all that I've said, I've been really busy, but I still have a bit of life going. But for this year, I've refocused and re-energised myself and got myself organised. I mean, look, here I am. I've got my YouTube channel up and running. I've got my website all going. Needs a bit of work still. But I'm getting things going in the right direction. I'm re-looking at my book. To make sure that gets to the point that it can be published and I can promote it on my channel and you guys can go out and buy it. I wrote a second book, which I need to go back and really redo, retweak. I've given myself a deadline to get that done. I'm equally looking at going out. I like art galleries, so I'm going to go back and have a passion with that and start just getting out there more. And one of the key things my daughter keeps telling me is, you need to meet people, mum. You need to get out more, mum. And I'm going to try that over the coming months, but probably when it gets a bit warmer and a bit lighter. But what I'm just trying to say to you is that life is too short and you don't know what's around the corner. And it may sound corny, it may sound old-fashioned, but you've got to take each day as it comes and don't think that you're going to be granted the next day. So I kind of like have a mantra, and I've always had one, that if I were to die, I don't want to die with regrets. I don't want to die thinking, oh, I wish I did that, if only I'd done that. Which is why I kind of like branched out here and did this YouTube channel. I talked to my friend Shirley and saying, no, people won't want to look at me, don't want to look at my face, I've got better things to do. And she'd laugh and say, don't be silly, just go and do it, you've got good things to say. And if you'd asked me probably about a month ago, would you ever have a YouTube channel? I'd look at you and say, really? You're asking me that when you know the answer's no? But the reason I'm doing it is because it's something that I like to do, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm hoping that what I'm talking about resonates with people out there and it helps them on in their life. But ultimately, it's about doing stuff that perhaps is outside my comfort zone, but it's something different, it's something new. And it can turn into a really good hobby, but it gets me out, it gets me having that break away from work, so I know where work ends and where I begin and where fun begins. So if the only takeaway you have from this video is that work has to end and you've got to have fun, and you need to increase the amount of fun you're having, the amount of life you're living, and reducing the amount of work you're doing, because then you'll be happy at work, happy at home, you'll be healthier, and your mental health state will be healthier, and people would enjoy being around you. So think about that and try and change just one thing about your work that you can to reduce the amount of time that you're working with there in your own time. Go back to, what is my working hour? What am I being paid for? And try and stick to that where you can. I know it's not always possible, and I know deadlines and commitments come up that you have to do more than required. That's fine. Just make sure you're not doing it every day, and make sure you're not just pushing yourself and grinding yourself down that you become ill, because I guarantee you, you're not going to benefit if you're ill. Your work is not going to benefit from you being ill, because things won't get done and they'll just pile up and you'll feel even more pressure to get it done. So again, just say to yourself, how many hours do I need to get done what I need to do? And if you need to change how you operate during the day, then do so. Talk to your manager if necessary. Talk to a friend, a colleague to help you do that. Time management is key, guys. It really is. Work out what amount of time you've got and what you need to do and prioritise. And that will help you along that journey. I'm going to leave you here with those thoughts, but I'm happy to come back to it. Give me your feedback, give me your comments, and we can go on forward if it's necessary. But just remember, life is too important to die at work. Keep that in your thoughts. So thank you for watching Jenny's World. And remember, we're keeping it fresh, we're keeping it real, and we're keeping it middle-aged. Goodbye.